Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Miss Nelson. It's time to get busy again. We're going to learn something called mean absolute deviation. I know it sounds like a really long word and really hard or complicated, but we're going to break it down and we're going to talk about what the mean is. What is mean? If you guys remember, mean is where you add up all the numbers and you find the average. So we're going to we don't have to write it down, but I'll go ahead and write it down where you add all numbers and then divide by how many numbers there are. By how many numbers you have. Absolute, something that might be new to you. Absolute value, the symbols you might see are like this. And if I said the absolute value of -2, that just means the distance from 0. So if we got a number line and I put a -2 here, what would that mean? The distance from -2 to 0, 1, 2. So the absolute value of a -2 is actually 2. Let's try another one. Let's try the number 6. So the absolute value of 6, if we have it on a number line, we have the 0 there, and the 6 is over here. What's the distance from 0 to 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the absolute value of a positive 6 is 6. So if we look at it, the distance, even if it's a -2 to 0, is a positive 2. The distance from a 6 to 0 is still positive. So for now, just to let you know, the distance of absolute value will always be a positive number. The word deviation means to change. Ms. Brai gave me a good one. If a good example, if you're going to the mall or something and you had to take a detour, you deviated from your original plans, what does that mean? You change. So deviation is a way of thinking how things changed. So now that we understand a little bit, we're actually going to just focus on the skill today. So we're going to do something called I do, we do, and you do. So this one I'm going to do on my own, so just pay attention. If I'm going too fast, just make sure you slow it down. So the first one we said is mean. So what did we say? We're going to add up all the numbers. So we have 2, 7, 8, 3, and 5. We add those all up. What do we get? 25. We find that the average, because we're going to go ahead and divide by how many numbers do we have? 25 divided by 5 gives me the number 5. So with this number that we've gotten right now, the mean from our first set of data, we're actually now going to take it back up here, rewrite these numbers. 2 minus the number we just got right here. 7 minus the number. 8 minus the number. 3 minus the number. And 5 minus the number. So now we're going to go ahead and say, if you guys remember how you do your integers, 2 minus 5 is the same thing as 2 and a -5, so that's -3. 7 minus 5 gives you 2. 8 minus 5 gives you 3. 3 minus 5 gives you a -2. 5 minus 5 gives you 0. So the A up here is the absolute value, so we're going to take the absolute value. I'm writing these symbols so you remember the absolute value just means the distance from 0. So now over here we're going to take the absolute value. So absolute value is 3, 2, 3, 2, and 0. And now we're going to find the average again. So if we add up all these numbers, we end up with 10. And now we're going to take the 10 and also find the average. So it's like finding the average of the average of the average. We have 5 numbers. 10 divided by 5 gives me 2. So this number is what we call the mean absolute deviation. So the number 2 is a mean absolute deviation for this set of data. We're going to try one. We're going to do it together. So let's try these numbers. I'm going to slow it down a little bit and give you guys a chance to go ahead and get started. You can use your calculator if you need to. So just to remind you, in case you forgot, everyone's adding these up, and you're going to divide by how many numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 numbers, so we're going to be dividing it by 5. By now you should have got this, but check my work, check yours. I got a total or a sum of 82. So 82 divided by 5. Does anybody have the answer? Check your work. I got 16.4. So now we're going to go back up here and we're going to enter this number in this column. We're going to subtract it. So I'm rewriting the first column. We're going to subtract it. You all have your calculator, so while I'm writing it, you guys can go ahead and do the data. It helps to make sure you write it out the first few times so that you know you're doing it. And check your work. Okay, let's go ahead and check our work. I got negative 4.4, negative 0.4, negative 3.4, 7.6, 0.6. And now remember, the A stands for the absolute value. We're going to take the absolute value, and if you remember, absolute value is the distance from 0. And our numbers end up being positive numbers. So we're going to rewrite the numbers here, but they're in positive form or absolute value, not just positive form, but considered absolute value. So we have 4.4, 0.4, 3.4, 7.6, 0.6. Now, does anybody remember what we're supposed to do here? Okay, if you need to go back and look at your notes on your first one, I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, some of you are realizing that we did have to add them all up. So we're going to go ahead and add them all up. And we do have 5 numbers. We're going to divide by 5. So your total, I got 16.4. You got 16.4. If I divide that by 5, you should get 3.28. So my MAD for this set of data is 3.28. Okay, now it's time for you to do it on your own. I've done one, we've done one, and now you're going to do one. This one's get a little bit harder, but I know you guys can do it. So I'm not even going to start you out with our little MAD, the way we template did it. So go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you about a good 3 minutes, and we'll start checking our work. Okay, go ahead and pause the video so I can keep going, or you guys can go ahead and do it and you can check your work. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what you got. Check your work and see if it is similar to what I have. So as mine right here, I got a total of 78.6 divided by 5 gave me 15.72. Now here is something that I didn't go over. There's something we can discuss here just to see if anyone did it. You can round your numbers. So if I got 15.72, even though you have your calculator, what would we round that to? We round it to the tens place. Let's go ahead and round that to 15.7. So we're going to minus 15.7 from each of the values from the first one. And then we're going to take the absolute value, but instead of me writing them all out, since we are going to take the absolute value of them, I'm going to go ahead and write them right here. You should end up with a 1, 6.1, 8.5, 2.9, 1.6. That is the absolute value of the numbers that we got here. Here, I guess, yes, you should have a -1, -6.1, 8.5, -2.9, and 1.6. So now we're going to add these up and find the mean or the average again. So when I added all these up, I got 20.1. We're going to divide it by 5 because we have 5 different numbers. And my final answer was 4.02. So for the math, for this set of data, I got 4.02. If you need more, you're more than welcome to look at the data and go over. If you have any questions, please submit any questions tomorrow during class.